You're about to take a polygraph test. These are the top 7 things you need to be aware of.
Welcome to Inside the Polygraph. I'm your host, David Goldberg, expert polygraph examiner. Join me as I and my guests break down the facts, fictions of polygraph testing, law enforcement, and so much more. Real cases, real conversations. The truth is always revealed inside the polygraph.
First and foremost, a lot of people go and they look up how to take a polygraph test. However, once they go and they look up on social media about polygraph testing, they slowly look on how to beat a polygraph test. And then what happens is when they come to take their polygraph test, they try to use what they watched on the videos on social media. So that's a mistake. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I have said this, although you can look it up on other avenues, you can't beat a polygraph test. What happens is the inexperienced examiner messes your examination up, but you're not going to beat the actual examination. So what mistake you're making is you're setting yourself up for failure. Why would you want to do that? That's what you're doing. You're setting yourself up for failure, which means you either have something you're drastically holding back, hiding, or you don't want it to come out. So you're looking up something to try to manipulate your test. Don't bother. Don't even show up if that's what you're going to do. That's a major mistake. Another mistake people do is they watch all these TV shows and they watch all this stuff on social media and they think that's exactly how the polygraph test is going to be taken. And when they come to take their polygraph test, they're utterly shocked and they're like, what? I thought it was going to be like I saw on such and such TV show. Or I thought it was going to be like this or like that. Ladies and gentlemen, no, it's not. So what you see on TV, how you see it on TV is not how it's done professionally when you go take your polygraph examination. So that's a major mistake that people make. They set themselves up thinking it's going to be one way when it really isn't. Another mistake people make is they practice their answers to questions that they want resolved. However, ladies and gentlemen, professionally, the examiner will formulate questions accordingly, and you're not going to know the questions until the day of the examination, and then they're going to be reviewed with you. So you practicing only tells the examiner that you are, once again, trying to manipulate because this is the questions you've practiced, you know the answers, this is what I want done. That's not how the test works. You might say, I'm being accused of theft of a watch and I didn't take the watch, so I want to be asked, did you take the watch? And that's what I want to be asked. Did you take the watch? Well, that's not how it works, ladies and gentlemen. We'll ask you if you took the watch. However, it's going to be asked in a different way, and it's not going to be asked the way you've been practicing, maybe for a few days, few hours, few weeks, or whatever. So again, you're setting yourself up for failure if you're practicing. So don't go into your examination as if you're a sponge. Something new, I'm not worried about it. I'm going to let the professional handle things, and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do and be open and honest. The other mistake people make is if it's a couple polygraph is they stay up all night and they argue, they interrogate each other, they threaten each other, they have lack of sleep, and then they come to take a polygraph examination and it's really under intense pressure, intense interrogation, and you better tell the truth, or, I'm going to leave you, or I'm going to take the kids, or blah, blah. I mean, stop. Let the examiner who you're hiring do their job, and don't argue, threaten, intimidate, or interrogate your significant other prior to the polygraph examination. If you've hired an experienced polygraph examiner like myself, let me do my job, and you don't need to be arguing all night long and interrogating someone or threatening your significant other. Let the examiner get your results for you. If not, then you might as well just continue to do what you're doing at home and don't even bother hiring a polygraph examiner.
Have you been accused of one of the following in your life, such as infidelity, custody matters, CPS investigations, or serious criminal matters that you're currently being investigated for? At Executive Protection Group Polygraph Service, we have been helping thousands of individuals for over 24 years, no matter who you are or what you have been accused of, with the highest accuracy, integrity, and overall compassion to everyone's needs. We are not your typical polygraph or lie detection service. At Executive Protection Group Polygraph Service, we are certified experts recognized in courts throughout the country, and we stand by our promise to give you full closure and all your needed answers. Call at 757-495-1301 and visit our website at www.executiveprotectiongrp.com to get started.
Another mistake people make is they do illicit drugs, or they drink heavily 8 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours prior to the examination, and they arrive either intoxicated, inebriated, or high. And I don't, but there are examiners that test, and they shouldn't, but there are examiners that do it, and that will cause some issues on your examination. You can't beat the test because you're high or intoxicated. However, you're causing your demise, because either you're going to fall asleep in the chair, you're not going to be alert. I mean, you're causing your own issues, and it's pretty unethical for an examiner to test someone that's intoxicated or inebriated. Another mistake people make is they stay up all night. They don't get enough rest. They don't get enough sleep. So when you come to take the examination, what happens? You're not focusing, you're not listening, you're not all there. So that in itself is not good, because you need to be really focused when you take an examination. Okay? Now, I'm not saying you need to get 8 hours if you can't, and a lot of people don't because they have medical conditions or they just don't sleep well. But having 1 hour sleep or 30 minutes of sleep or no sleep at all is not good. So you need to get some hours of sleep prior to the examination. Another mistake people often make is they fail to bring pertinent paperwork, documentation with them to help them and help the examiner with their case or matter when it is something that needs to be resolved, such as, let's say it's a criminal matter. Let's say it is a civil matter, but you have allegations made against you and you do have documentation. Let's say it's a CPS report, or let's say it's a protective order, or let's say there's other kind of documentation, text messages, paperwork, letters written by other people, or your ex or significant other, or the person that's actually accusing you of threatening, whatever. People fail to bring that so that the professional examiner, expert examiner like myself, can read it, so that we can formulate proper questions to alleviate the allegations and crush the allegations to help you, the examinee, show that you're telling the truth. And when you don't bring it and you have it, not that we can't help, It's just more difficult to alleviate what they're saying, because sometimes examinees will say, oh, I didn't bring it. I really can't remember what they said. I know they said something. It's on that text. I wish I would have brought it, or I wish I would have brought the letter. We can't just guess, because then it doesn't help when you go to court or you want to bring it to some kind of meeting or counsel or whatever, because then they're going to say, well, that's not what they really said, and you tested something, but you didn't test what it really meant. So you need to bring the real documentation so the real statements can be verified for truth or for deception. Another mistake people make is, personally, showing up last minute. If you're taking a pre-employment polygraph test and you show last minute or you come late, let me tell you something. That's a really bad mark on your character. You better show up early, and you better be there on time and ready to be tested, because that shows what kind of character you are. If you're a last minute individual, that shows you don't care, you have no respect for the process or the examiner, and so that's not going to affect your test. However, it is going to affect how you're looked at in reference to your character, and that'll be noted in the report. Person showed up late, person didn't care, person had an attitude. So people make mistakes like that. And so I would assume that if this job you're applying for, you're going to show up dressed well for a pre-employment polygraph test. You're going to show up on time, if not early, and you're going to be ready to rock and roll. These are the major mistakes people make often, okay, when they go and take a polygraph test. And when you make these mistakes, you're not affecting the polygraph examiner. As an examiner, I didn't ask you to come to the polygraph to take something. You hired me to help you. And if you're going to do these kind of things, ultimately, you're either hurting yourself, you're hurting your family, you're hurting your boss, you're hurting other people. So basically, you're hurting others and yourself, and you're just not thinking of anyone else but yourself. So technically, it doesn't affect the examiner. Okay, so you're not hurting the examiner itself. You might be wasting the examiner's time, and you're wasting your money. But if these are the things that you're going to do, it just shows that you just don't care. So why even bother? And that's what I'm trying to say. Don't make these mistakes, and you won't have issues when you come take a polygraph examination. I hope this helps people. You don't have to be, goody-goody. I'm not asking people to be on their, ultimately best behavior. People do get anxious. People do come with attitudes. People are upset. People are angered. People are frustrated. That's not what I'm saying get rid of. What I'm saying is don't do anything that's truly going to cause your examination and you ultimately to cause yourself failure, because you've done these things that you could have ultimately avoided doing. If you like what I'm putting out, like, subscribe, and comment, and I wish you the very best if you have to take a polygraph examination. Have a great day.
Thanks so much for listening. If you truly liked what you heard today, please be sure to rate the show, share with others, and subscribe for more episodes.